Think about dimensions for a moment. A three-dimensional object, like a cube, has height, width, and length. A two-dimensional object has only height and width, and a one-dimensional object just length, a beginning and an end, like a piece of string. In my mind, time is one-dimensional. It has a starting point and it has an ending point. Now, God created time, but He Himself exists outside of time. Scripture tells us He set out about 7,000 years, and He calls each 1,000 years one day. In that sense, He created 7 days. But here's the challenge. Because we live inside of time, it's very hard to describe what it means to exist outside of time. John begins his gospel with the words, "In the beginning was the Word." That means that when the clock of time started ticking, the Word was already there. The Word was with God means that God and His Word coexisted at the onset of time. And the Word was God refers to the fact that before God expressed what was in His mind, He was alone. You could say the Word existed as a thought in His mind. It was Him. Notice John doesn't say before time. Why? Because before only makes sense inside the framework of time. Outside of time, the word simply was. Our language struggles. In eternity, there is no before or after. God spoke, and His word was the outcome of His speech. God and His word exist outside of time. They created time. But every so often, God steps into time in a very distinct way. For example, the flood, when He wiped out evil from the earth. Or when, on the request of Yeshua, the sun stood still and the moon remained where it was until Israel had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Or when He reversed time with 10 degrees on the sundial on the request of Isaiah to prove Hezekiah's foretold healing. And most significantly, when His word became flesh and lived among us. His word was already born from His mind when He sent His word to be born of flesh. And the same happens when we are born again. We are first born of flesh, but then reborn through His word. Because our rebirth originated from outside of time, it connects us to God beyond time. That makes the Messiah our older brother. Brothers have the same parents. Christ was the first to be born from God and from flesh. We were all born of flesh, but subsequently also born of God. So here's the question. If our rebirth through the Word originated outside of time, does that mean we existed before time? Maybe not. Maybe it's better to say we originated from God, who is beyond time. Because with God, before and after don't really apply.